that Paul Hudrick without a beard? Wow. The fresh face Paul Hudrick is on your video screen. For those of you who see Paul on here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday, that is Paul. He just shaved his beard. I am surprised as well. What happened? What did you do? Did you lose a bet?
Nah, just about that time, man. Every time, it's. I'll tell you this, Mike. Every time it's the same pattern. It's grow the beard for a while, like the beard, then one day not like the beard, and then start shaving it and immediately regret it.
How long did it take you?
No, I'm just saying we'll be back.
No, how long did it take you? How long did it take you to get all the hair off? I mean, you had a pretty sizable beard.
Nah, it didn't take long. I have a very quality trimmer.
Nice.
So it didn't take very long.
Look at that. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how disappointing is that loss last night?
I mean, I guess I'll say like a 2, because it's not disappointing. It's disappointing because they had a chance. It looked like they, especially earlier in the game, they really controlled it, especially in the first half. And in the second half, their offense just completely went silent. But you still have 3 chances to win one game to clinch the 1 seed. So disappointing, yes, but I'm not in like full meltdown mode about it. You win Thursday and it's over. And then you can coast the last 2 games in Orlando. But even if you lose Thursday, you take care of business on Friday against Orlando, and then the last game you get a rest. And they're going to get a rest too, Mike, during the play-in tournament. So it's not like there's not going to be opportunity to sit guys and let guys get a little healthy. So I would say a 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, it's anytime you don't have Joel, it's tough to kind of that whole situation. I would have liked to seen them win the game last night and just kind of got it over with. But I'm kind of like torn on that because you just said it. You already have a week off. I'd hate to see them not playing guys these last 3 games because now you're going to have almost 2 weeks off. So you think those guys will play if they clinched last night? Do you think those guys would play at all in like a half? How do you see like him divvying up? If they clinched Thursday night, do they play in the last 2 games at all?
I think it's going to be player to player kind of contingent. Like I could see Ben Simmons wanting to play Ben Simmons in those games because you saw there's like this weird litigation about him last night when I thought he was sensational.
All right, so it wasn't just me who I just got accused of being on the Ben Simmons payroll.
No, he was great. For you to watch that game and think that Ben Simmons was the problem, like I don't know what you watched.
I'll tell you what it comes down to, Paul. See, it's still these people who want Ben Simmons to be something different when the team has clearly told him, don't be what they want you to be what we want you to be, and we don't want you to be what they want you to be. We want you to be this guy.
And not only that, it's like, what do you want him to do? I mean, is it just? I mean, there was like the one play that someone point. Let's start over. Actually, let's go. First half, he was dominant. He controlled the game in the first half.
Yeah.
They had a double-digit lead, and it was because of him, because of how dominant he was on both ends of the floor. The second half, the Pacers made a concerted effort to say, okay, Ben Simmons, you're not going to beat us. How is that not a good thing? That the other team said, okay, Ben Simmons, you're great. You killed us. We're going to do everything we can to stop you and let everyone else beat him. And guess what? They didn't. Seth Curry did not have a good second half. Danny Green was cold all game long. Tobias Harris had a good start, but even in the fourth quarter, I think he would tell you he missed a lot of shots that he normally makes, especially in that situation. And then Mike Scott. I mean, I don't even need to really elaborate on that because of the year he's having. But what Sixers fans should feel good about is that the Pacers' game plan in the second half was to stop Ben Simmons. I don't know what else. That's what they do to Joel Embiid. They do everything they can to stop Joel Embiid. The difference is Joel Embiid has gotten so good that he's found counters to that. Ben Simmons hasn't encountered that very much, or he's been the guy that other teams are looking to stop. So, I mean, I don't know what you want. There was the one play where people converged on him. He had Mike Scott open in the corner for 3, and he drove instead. Do you want Ben Simmons to launch the 3? Do you want him to pass the?
No, that's what they want. They want Ben Simmons to launch that 3.
I mean, okay, sure. And he probably, let's be real, there's like a 70% chance he probably misses it, right? I mean, just the reality of it. So, yeah, maybe he could have taken that shot, but
no, the one area, like it's that one with 1:20 left, and they're down 4, 96-92, and the defense sags. Ben goes with them, and then he goes to – my problem isn't with Ben there. It's why is Mike Scott the guy that is nestled in the corner wide open? I'd rather – and look, Mike Scott's only out there because Joel's not there. So that whole play is so different in a situation if they're at full strength. But, Danny Green, 2 for 8 last night, not shooting the ball well. If he's shooting the ball a little better, then probably not in that situation. Seth Curry did not shoot the ball. But people have to come to terms with they want Ben Simmons to score 35 points because Joel's not there. So because Joel's not there, he has to score more. No, the team is, if you don't like the team, that's on you. The team is Ben setting these guys up for the highest percentage of looks of any other player in the league.
100%. And that was, to me, what kind of I don't want to take too much from that game because, to me, it's not Joel Embiid didn't play. It's really not that meaningful of a game. Sure, they could have clinched the 1 seed, but it's just really there's not, you know what I mean? It just doesn't have what the other games had. Plus, you're missing Thibault. Plus, you're missing Korkmaz.
Oh, Thibault
plus,
too,
you're missing Shake Milton. So that's three, arguably 3 of your best bench players all out of the lineup, plus the arguable MVP of the league out of the lineup. So let's start there. But yeah, I'm worried when I see Seth Curry in the third quarter. I don't know how I would like to. I almost am tempted to go back and watch the game and count it. How many open threes did Seth Curry pass up last night? It had to be at least 5. And that's the stuff he can't do when the playoffs start. And it's because what Indiana does well, they are led by TJ McConnell. They pressure the basketball. They have guards who are not afraid to get beat off the dribble. They will pressure you. And it bothered Seth Curry last night, and he couldn't get by it, and he wasn't taking the shots that were there. So that's a big part of what happened in the second half. Like I said, they said we're going to stop Ben Simmons. Okay, Seth Curry. Okay, Danny Green, start hitting shots. And they didn't. And that's, and it kind of snowballed from there. And you talk about, Mike Scott. Mike Scott's probably not, let's be realistic. Mike Scott's probably not going to play a minute in the playoffs. As of right now, with the way their rotation is, with the way it shakes out, when they are at full strength, he will not play a minute. If you're going to look at one thing that I think maybe Doc Rivers could have done differently, I didn't love closing with Seth and Danny Green because I don't think it was very clear that they didn't have it last night. You could have gone to George Hill down the stretch. You could have maybe rode Tyrese Maxey a little longer. So those are the few things that I think really stand out. But I think if your focus is on Ben Simmons and you think that Ben Simmons is the reason they lost that basketball game last night, you need to watch more basketball.
Amen to that. I mean, and look, again, if you haven't watched Ben through the first 68 games, 69 games this season and haven't figured out what the Sixers are asking of him, then you need to rewatch, like a movie. You need to rewatch again because you've missed a lot of parts of this movie. They do not want Ben Simmons to be the player that the fans want him to be. And I'm okay with that because Ben is very good at setting up the other guys. And guess what? There's a reason why Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate, and one of those reasons is number 25.
You just look, you nailed it, Mike, when you're talking about just like him setting everything up. And Joel Embiid has even said this. He said, when Ben Simmons is out, his defense is not actually what they miss the most. What they miss the most is tempo. And I think, too, sometimes when people hear tempo, they think, oh, fast break. It's not just about the fast break. It's about getting the ball at the floor quickly. It's about getting into the offense quickly and getting things moving. And sometimes you see that when Joel Embiid is kind of doing his thing, it's kind of Joel Embiid and then 4 guys standing around.
What was it that Danny Green, I think he just had Doc Rivers on his Green Room podcast saying about how the one area that people don't give Ben enough credit for, and I can't remember, I think it was about the way that he gets people the ball and gets him like the most open of open looks, that he knows exactly when to facilitate the other. Like, he doesn't give it to you too early. He doesn't get it to you too late. He gets it to you at the exact right moment. And he said, like, that is an underrated thing that he's never played with a guy who has that ability.
And there's probably not that many guys in the league that have that ability, right? I mean, it's a pretty underrated trait to have. And it goes back to me too, Mike, like we talk about Philadelphia athletes. What do the Philadelphia fans love? Oh, they love guys who play hard. They love guys who are selfless and want to do everything to help the team win. Ben Simmons might be the defensive player of the year. He plays hard on that end every single night. And he's selfless. He always wants to make the best play for his team. He's always trying to set his teammates up. So again, it goes back to what you kind of brought up, where they want him to be LeBron James. They want him to be the number one overall pick guy, and that's just it's not who he is. And that doesn't mean he's not a great basketball player, that he can't be a better basketball player. Like, just because he's not LeBron James, who is arguably the greatest player to ever play basketball, that doesn't mean that Ben Simmons still can't be a really good player and help this team win a championship, because I absolutely think he can.
Yeah, it was the last Inside the Green Room, by the way. They talked about Simmons leading the NBA in 3-point assists, and they kind of went into that. We'll get that audio up that you can hear the full quote, but I think it really kind of quantifies what his teammates think of him. Forget what the fans think of him, how the team enjoys having him because of what he does for them. And I say all the time, you might want Ben to score more points. And if that's you, you're going to be disappointed. But he makes a average player good and a good player great. And that's what you got. You have a couple of players like Danny Green and Seth Curry who are probably average players. He's making them good players. He's got a guy in Tobias Harris who is a good player. He's making him a great player. So keep that in mind, is these other guys are all better because of what he's doing for them. And he's got a great player in Joel Embiid, and he's making him an elite player.
To your point, everybody in the starting five is pretty much having a career year. Whether it's Seth Curry, whether it's Danny Green, whether it's Tobias Harris, or of course Joel Embiid, all four of those guys are having arguably the best year of their career. And I think it would just be silly to not give Ben Simmons any credit for that. I mean, sure, Joel Embiid deserves a great amount of credit for that because of the gravitas he brings, and how great of a year he's having, and how much attention he gets, and how that creates opportunities for others. But you can't understate that Ben Simmons is elevating his teammates. And that's what really great players do. That's what point guards do. They make the players around them better. Now, is Ben Simmons perfect? No, he is absolutely not perfect. Are there times where maybe even I think like, maybe he should have shot the ball here, or
sure,
maybe he could have looked to score there? Absolutely. There are times. He's not a perfect player, and he's not a finished product, Mike. He's 24 years old. He's still got a ways to go to be a finished product. So I think, again, I came away from that Indiana game more encouraged than anything else, because I thought he was aggressive when he needed to be. He picked his spots well, and he was just everywhere on the floor. He attacked. He had two fadeaway jumpers that both looked really pretty. They both swished. One was in the fourth quarter in a big spot. So I think the growth is it's maybe not coming as fast as some people would like, but right. I think he is growing. He is getting better. And I just, if you have to, I kind of think you're nailing it when you say you have to separate what you want him to be to what he is, and accept him for what he is. And that what he is pretty darn good.
Yeah. And I go back to this. Paul Hudrick's with us. That I've said this in the past, which I'll bring back, is think about how good Joel was at 24, and think about how much better he is now at 27. He was really good at 24. He's that much better at 27. So think about where Ben is at 24, and then picture him 3 years down the road. He's got a lot more to grow and learn. And I know people are like, well, if he's not going to shoot, what's the difference? Look, give him 3 years and see if his game's evolved and changed, like Joel's did. Because you might say, what more can Joel do? He was great at 20. He's so much better at 27 than he was at 24. All right, Sixers tomorrow night. They take on the Heat. Friday against the Magic. Sunday against the Magic. And that's it. We will figure it all out after Sunday. So when Paul's back on Monday's edition of Inside the Sixers, we will have at least some semblance of the seedings. Then the play-in games will be on Tuesday the 18th and Friday the 21st. And then the playoffs will begin on the 22nd and 23rd for the Philadelphia 76ers. 3 to go with a 2-game lead for the number 1 seed. Brooklyn has 3 games left. Looks like they're going to get James Harden back tonight. They should have all 3 guys for at least 2 of these games, I guess. I mean, we'll see if Kyrie ends up playing, because he got hit in the head last night. And Paul Hudrick is on Twitter at Paul Hudrick for all the Sixers news. All right, man. Good conversation.
All right, Mike.